Greetings. This is David McKnight with Notion Path, and I'm very excited to bring today's discovery session from the Science of Getting Hired. On this discovery session, we're going to talk about the 5 steps to getting hired in today's dreadful job market. And believe me, it is dreadful. It's terrible for many. It's not working for employers and it's not working for applicants. The system is broken. And many of you are probably here because you're experiencing that. We're really excited because we believe there's some ideas that we can bring to the table that are going to change this paradigm for many of you. Before we get going, let's review who this session is for today. Our focus is on senior professionals and executives struggling in a job search who want to get hired in a job they love. Yes, our focus is on the most experienced. We believe they are having the greatest difficulty in today's terrible job market. It's with those individuals in mind, particularly. We believe we've identified some specific solutions that will help them on their journey to getting hired. Let's review what we will be talking about in the next 45 minutes. First, we're going to talk about how to get the focus and clarity of the role you love and have employers convinced you are the perfect fit. I do believe many professionals are struggling with this aspect of getting that clarity that is needed in order for you to be able to clearly communicate your message. Without that nailed down, you're simply going to be spinning wheels and being ineffective in your search. How to leverage employment assessments to work for you, not against you. I realize that for many of you, you have a negative opinion of employment assessments, and unfortunately, many of them have been used or are being used against you, whether it's in the screening process or in employment evaluations. However, I strongly believe after 15 years of working with them, there are some powerful things that you can get out of using this information to help you. Next is how to create your branding and effectively use resumes and cover letters so that hiring managers want you on their team. What does that perfect resume look like? What does that perfect cover letter look like? We're going to be talking about that and specifically really talking about how it's important for you to own your own branding. How to create and maintain a LinkedIn profile that attracts, that's the key word here, attracts recruiters, HR professionals, and hiring managers. How to interview with confidence on the phone, through videos, and face-to-face. Confidence is key here at this stage. You've worked so hard to get to the interview. It's time to deliver. We're going to talk about that. Discover the hidden job market and more effective ways to compete for those positions. Yes, there's a large number of jobs that aren't being posted. We're going to talk about that and talk about how you can effectively go after those roles. My promise to you today is to provide the exact steps to help you get hired. Before we jump into the 5 steps, let's touch base and make sure that we're on track here. Does this sound like you? Do you feel stuck in your current role? Have you had years of success, but now it seems no one wants to hire you? Are you trapped in job board hell? Are you struggling to create the perfect resume and cover letter? Are you overwhelmed by networking? Are you getting interviews, but told you're overqualified, not qualified, or worse, hear nothing at all, just crickets. And finally, is this impacting your finances, your health, and well being? If any of these things sound like you, then I have some great news. None of these things are the real problem. They are all symptoms, the outcome of a broken system, and you not knowing there is a different approach. You are not alone, but you can be different and change your situation. The real problem is you haven't made what I call the shifts. I have been discovering these shifts over the last several years, first applying them to my own career search, then using them with my clients. When used together, I believe they form a comprehensive approach to meeting the challenges the experienced professionals and executives among us face in today's job market. With the five shifts, you will have complete control over the roles you want or need and who you work with. Attract the right people. Absolutely critical in this process is your ability to find and attract them. Clearly communicate your value. It's critical in today's environment that you're able to communicate your value proposition and why you're the best candidate for them. Make the job search process work for you, not against you, as it probably feels like today. Gain skills that will serve you well into the future and help you build a career you love. Take the right action to get control and value back in your life. I understand. I understand why many of us can struggle with this process. It's foreign to us. The rejection and the lack of what seems like a clear process can leave you out of control and feeling like your value is in question. These shifts can help you get that back. All right, now discovering these five shifts. There are five shifts you must make to separate yourself from the competition and get hired. I'm going to walk you through all five of these shifts on this session. This session is really about you, but let me spend a couple of minutes and tell you a little bit about myself. My name is David McKnight, and I have had the honor to serve for 40 years as a hiring mentor. I have had the pleasure to serve a handful of companies and over 1,000 employees as a CEO, COO, CFO, founder, and a business owner. You can look me up on LinkedIn if you'd like. The last 8 years, I have been focusing on building teams, serving employers, and mentoring professionals and executives. It's during this time that I really began to hone in on this challenge and working with professionals on a one-on-one basis to help them with this challenge of getting hired. I've had the opportunity to fill a variety of professional and executive roles. Building teams and matching professionals and executives with employers has been without question the most rewarding part of my career. I do believe I bring the experience and understand what employers are looking for, what hiring managers are looking for, and now I think I have a good understanding of what professionals and executives are experiencing in today's job market. It's that experience all bottled together is what I'm trying to bring, along with a passion and a true desire to serve. All right, I'm really excited to get started with our first shift. Get crystal clarity. This shift has been the longest to develop solutions for, but I'm also convinced it may be the most profound for many of you, especially if you are struggling in any way to figure out what role you want. I believe this challenge, is at the heart of our current struggles that we're seeing in the job market and our greatest opportunity for improvement. The last 10 years has seen an explosion of professionals seeking work for a variety of reasons, most of which has nothing to do with them. The economy, layoffs. We just have seeing employers struggling in many different ways, and we've been caught up in that as well. I also think that many people are not happy in their current roles. And since we're seeing a lot more emphasis put these days on culture and employee culture, I think the expectations by employees and us are increasing too. And then the last 10 years, we've also seen these explosion in jobs from job boards. I mean, any job that gets advertised, it becomes very easy to find and easy to apply to, almost to the point that it's created another whole level of chaos. And it's just, again, complicating this whole challenge of unclarity. I'm convinced that this can have a big impact for many of you. For some, a huge impact, and others, it's going to give you that competitive advantage. Clarity may be the most critical of the five shifts for many. Your ability to get focused, set that foundation, is going to pay big dividends in your ability to have a much more effective job search, as well as to communicate clearly your value. Results from your career search will benefit significantly by getting this clarity. Employers cannot and will not help you with this. Starting with a resume and all the way through the interview, employers are expecting you to bring that focus. So, how do you get that clarity and focus? Well, we're going to start by using some of the very same tools employers are using, the assessments. For many of you, I understand assessments suck, and I get it. They're confusing, filled with silly questions, seem to be used against you in screening processes and performance reviews. However, after 15 years of using these, I do believe there's a tremendous amount of benefit we can get from them. And I think we can use that benefit to help you. We take these assessments and flip the process to give you the inside look from the perspective of the employer, help you understand how they're looking at that information so you can use that information in helping you with your search. A good assessment can address both interviewing and long term professional development issues, information that you can use immediately to help you prepare for your interviews, as well as leverage the results to help you long term in your career choices and the roles that you choose. One way we can use assessments is to help identify where you could be swimming upstream or downstream in your career. Now, I do believe in the power of people and that we all have the ability to pick a career and a path that we want to go on. However, we're going to have natural tendencies, natural traits, natural gifts along the way. And our ability to understand what those are and to address them, it can give you a significant advantage over your ability to be successful in that path you choose. Another area assessments can help is to provide you with powerful communication strategies you can use immediately in the interview process. You will meet a variety of different people in your job search process. These tools can help you understand yourself at a deeper level, as well as provide you tools to effectively communicate to a variety of different types of people. The goal is to overcome possible objections, concerns, or reasons not to hire you as a result of these assessments. Your ability to know what these assessment results are going in are going to give you a much stronger position to meet any perceived weaknesses. Now I'm really excited to talk about this topic. We're going to leverage the science of life. It's a holistic wellness and life coaching technique, really assessments that employers only wish they could be using. We're going to be able to dive far deeper than those traditional employment assessments tests are designed to do and give you an inside look at yourself like you may never have seen before. These wellness assessments are going to provide a foundation to long term professional and personal success. What I'm really excited by is that we have been doing research and have talked to a number of experts. And a result of that, we have specifically identified key factors designed to have immediate impact for your career search. So while these are foundational topics that are going to serve us well into the future, really the goal here is to find things that are going to help us today so that we can make a difference in today's career search. There will be two key results of applying our Science of Life assessments. First is a mindset and a mindfulness to have an immediate impact on your search and your ability to connect with your network and employers. The second is to learn to be your own most valuable asset. The result of this understanding of both mindset and body is going to help you with getting a deeper understanding of yourself, which in turn is going to give you ability to speak with confidence and carry yourself with ease. You're going to look and feel more relaxed, and people will want to be around you. The second shift, demystifying your branding through resumes, cover letters, and your LinkedIn profile. Now, this shift is going to be more tactical. These are the instruments we use to help us get to the interview. A couple of things to clarify. By branding, I also mean marketing and your messaging. You need to own it. Get help on copy editing, formatting, layout, whatever you need, but make sure that you own your own messaging so that you can carry that throughout to the interview process. Also, keep in mind that the resume and cover letter are one-to-one documents. You're going to give it to one employer or one hiring manager. And so those documents need to be geared towards that specific role. And I'm not saying you need to come up with 25 different resumes, but you do need to make sure you're taking a look at each of those resumes and cover letters and making sure it speaks to the role and speaks to that hiring manager. The LinkedIn profile is a little different in the sense that it's a one to many kind of relationship. Your goal is to appeal to a wider audience. A key oversight that I see many are still making is that these three instruments are not kept to be consistent. Oftentimes, employers are, especially with senior roles, expecting us to be able to keep the information consistent in all three of these documents. When their dates are different and dates are wrong or jobs aren't listed or information seems out of whack, you're really setting yourself up to leave a red flag for employers. And we don't need that. So I really encourage everybody to make sure that all these documents are consistent. Let's start with a few things you should be aware of when it comes to resumes, cover letters, and LinkedIn profiles. Many recruiters spend only 6 seconds on your resume, so you have a very short window to get their attention. Most cover letters are a complete waste of time, and the vast majority will actually hurt your ability to get hired. A common question I get asked is, do LinkedIn profiles matter? Well, Especially for senior professionals and executives, the answer is yes. Employers are going to expect that information to be up to date. And don't just take my word for it. The statistics speak for themselves. 95% of recruiters use social media to find candidates. Almost half are only using LinkedIn. If you're doing any kind of research on companies, LinkedIn's a great place to be doing that now. Over 20,000 companies are on LinkedIn. And if this stat doesn't get your attention, I'm not sure anything will. Current LinkedIn profiles, and just to be clear, a current profile means something that is currently up to date, your job information's up to date, your headers up to date, your posts are up to date, your information is all current. A current LinkedIn profile are 18 times more likely to be found by recruiters and employers. And in my view, I would say the biggest reason you want to use LinkedIn is for this reason, to be discoverable and found by recruiters and employers. So as the stats show, recruiters and employers are looking at LinkedIn. Even if you give them a resume, they're most likely going to go onto LinkedIn and look at your profile. If your resume and your profile are drastically different, that's going to send up a red flag. And that's just something, a barrier you just don't want to put in front of an employer or a recruiter. All right, now here may be a news flash. Resumes, cover letters, and LinkedIn will not get you the job, but they very well could help lose it for you. They are simply tools, but used wrong, they may prevent you from getting noticed and interviewed. So here's the good news. Everybody is doing it wrong. In my unofficial, unstatistical opinion, at least my own results, I say at least 80% of resumes, LinkedIn profiles, and cover letters are simply just done badly. And so when somebody does them right, it really stands out. What's key here is to realize that there is a path to an employer. It starts off with that clarity and focus we talked about in shift one. Then we build a detailed personal inventory, review your entire career, identifying specific skills, qualifications, accomplishments that have occurred over your career to help us build the rest of these documents. Then we focus on the resume, and not just any resume, but a resume that speaks to the hiring manager and gets their attention. Then is cover letters that are very pain focused and solution focused that set you apart from the rest of the competition. We finished with all that information in hand to focus on the LinkedIn profile. And again, we're building LinkedIn profiles that are very compelling and discoverable. The third shift, job search processes that get results. Now, this shift builds on the first shift of getting clarity and the second shift of creating awesome documents and a clear message. Those two are going to help you immensely in being more effective at this process. We're going to start off really trying to understand where the system is broken and why, and then what we can do about it. Part of it's a technology challenge, a lot of it is still about people and how we can effectively communicate and reach the right people. That may be good news for many of you. Then we're going to wrap up with a 4-step process that we're using to get results for our clients. As we've shared, the job search processes today are broken. They're not working for anyone, including employers. I think it's important to understand how they are broken. So let's look at some of the numbers and what they say. Less than 1 out of 10 resumes that are submitted to a job board are actually reviewed in any level of detail by a person. Some of you may have already heard of the job board black hole. Where that comes from is that less than 3% of applicants get any kind of human response from applying to a job board. I suspect that many of you are experiencing the same thing. All you get is silence. While we're all aware of job boards, many of us may not realize there is a very large hidden job market. And that's because 70% of all jobs never get posted. And there are a lot of good reasons for that, including employers just not wanting to deal with a job board. Now, here's a scary one. Experts are estimating that the average search takes 1 month for every $10,000 of salary. So, for example, if you're looking for a role that's paying $60,000 salary, it could take up to 6 months. If you're looking for a role that's going to be $120,000 in salary, that could take over a year. All right, so what's driving this? The challenge with job boards are that employers are getting a large volume of resumes from candidates that are just not qualified. Many of them are caught up by resumes that simply fail the application tracking software scanning of resumes. The challenge with the hidden job market is that there really just isn't an easy way to find and connect with hiring managers, and most of our networking processes are just undefined and not working. We've been studying these challenges for quite some time and have come up with the science of a job search. We've identified 4 key actions to help you get hired. First is to build on that clarity and focus to cut down on the wasted time on a job search. Help you avoid getting caught up in that 80% of candidates that employers perceived as being not qualified. Number two is effective ways to use job boards by avoiding key mistakes that many candidates are making. Third are identifying effective strategies to reach hiring managers. And this approach really helps in 2 different ways. One, it helps to get HR to pull your resume out of the job board, as well as finding ways to tap into that hidden job market we've been talking about. And fourth is networking with research to engage connections in a much more effective way. Let's review what we've talked about so far. The first shift was about getting crystal clarity, really leveraging mindset and mindfulness and using assessments to help us get clarity. The second shift was about demystifying your branding, really creating much more powerful resumes, cover letters, and a LinkedIn profile, and carry that message into your interview. The third shift was about the broken job search process and identifying ways to make it work for you. The fourth shift, the reverse interview. Pretty excited by this shift here too. It's a combination of a mind change and leveraging the mindfulness that we talked about in the first shift. Interviews are an area that, because they're done by people, really it varies wildly. We're also seeing a number of different types of interviews being used in different formats. Certainly, the face to face and the phone are the most common, but video is becoming more popular, as are panel interviews. A panel interview, if you haven't seen one of those yet, is where multiple people are part of the interview, usually a cross functional group. Really popular to help employers cut down on the time it takes to find candidates, as well as when the decision making on who they're going to hire is multiple people's part decision or responsibility to make that decision. Also, we'll talk a little bit about behavioral and situational interviews, which are still being used a lot, and value-based interviews are also coming. The process that we're going to talk about, the reverse interview, applies to all of them. And I think that's one of the huge opportunities to give you a proven process that you can effectively use no matter what kind of interview you're in. Congratulations, you've got yourself an interview. In my view, this is the most critical phase of getting hired. All of your hard work and effort is to get to this point. 1 hour of time or less sometimes, often decided within the first 10 minutes. We're going to break that interview down into steps, even help you to close it strong so that even if you don't feel comfortable about the first 10 minutes, we can help you end on a positive note. Before we jump into the process of the reverse interview, I want to talk about something that I think is a key mindset in going into the interview. Most of us, even employers, are conditioned to think that the interview really is all about the candidate. It's their chance to shine and talk all about themselves. This may be a surprise for many of you. The interview really is not about you. They don't even know you yet. So, how can they care about you? What they care about and why they are interviewing you is because it's about what you can do for them. I don't say this to be too shocking. I think it's just an important mindset for us to wrap our heads around. One of the things that we think we misunderstand about an interview is to get in and spend all of our time talking about ourselves. And I think that's where we can go wrong very quickly. At the end of the day, really what they're focusing on one thing. You're there to help them convince them that you understand the challenges of the role and you know how to help solve their problems. Here is a step-by-step process for the reverse interview process. First is to prepare, and that means practicing and doing some initial research. By practicing, it helps you prepare for the interview and get control of your nerves, as well as practice on your responses. Do your homework on the position. The job description is a great cheat sheet. Bring it with you to the interview, and then make sure you've mapped out your experience, skills, and qualifications and accomplishments to that job description. So here's the reverse starts to kick in. By being able to build rapport with your interviewer, it shows that you're genuinely interested in them and interested in learning more about them. It's a key part of building that relationship. As mentioned before, it's important that you don't dominate the interview, so make sure you practice enough so that your answers are focused. Number 4 is to show curiosity. Walk in with a prepared list of questions, and even better, come up with one or two during the interview. Demonstrate that you're interested in the role, in the hiring manager, in the employer culture, and the products and services that they provide. That really demonstrates that you're both engaged and interested in learning more. The last step is the close. Your goal here is to make sure that you're leaving your interviewer with the right picture of you. Ask if there's anything else that you need to provide, such as references, background information, or work samples. And then ask the question something like this: Is there anything I haven't told you that would prevent you from recommending me for the next interview and or offer? That gives you a chance to revisit anything that may have not been clear earlier in the interview. And then also make sure you conclude the interview and state your interest in the position. Last and certainly not least is the fifth shift, investing in mentoring. A career search process is daunting enough, and hopefully most of us aren't having to go through it very often. On top of that, the changes that have occurred in the last 10 or even 5 years are really daunting. It's really imperative that we get support with things that we're struggling with and avoid a lot of the mistakes that others already have learned from. There are many benefits of mentors. Let's just review a few. Mentors can see where we need to improve, often where we cannot. They help find ways to stimulate our personal and professional growth, offer encouragement to help us keep going, are sounding boards so we can bounce ideas off of them for an unfiltered opinion, are trusted advisors that can hold us accountable, can be connectors, and have the experience you can learn from to prevent from making the same mistakes. What is important to realize is that you don't need to go it alone. A career search is something that many of us don't have to do very often in our lives, and getting help can be a key difference. Mentoring is a fundamental difference for many of the world's most successful people. They rely on mentors and coaches that help them meet the challenges they face. Investing in ourselves is something that we are all individually responsible for. We need to learn to be resourceful in seeking the ideas that help us. All right, let's do a quick review of what I said we would cover today. How to get the focus and clarity of the role you love and have employers convinced you are the perfect fit. How to leverage employment assessments to work for you, not against you. How to create your branding and effectively use resumes and cover letters so that hiring managers will want you on their team. How to create and maintain a LinkedIn profile that will attract recruiters, HR professionals, and hiring managers. How to interview with confidence on the phone, videos, and face to face. Discover the hidden job market and more effective ways to search for jobs in this very competitive job market. These 5 shifts are all you need to get hired. Let's review these 5 shifts. The first shift was getting crystal clarity, really getting that focus that we all need in order to be effective in our job search. The second was demystifying your branding in your resumes, your cover letters, your LinkedIn profiles, really owning your branding so that you can be effective in communicating it. The third was a far more effective job search process, walking through that process from beginning to end to deliver and connect with the employer. The fourth was a reverse interview, different approaches to the interview processes that get you noticed in the interview. And fifth, and certainly not least, is investing in mentoring. Now you have a choice. How I can help you get this accomplished. My team and I have set aside some time in the next 48 hours to speak to you personally about how you can apply these ideas today. Whatever your most significant challenges are, we have seen it and we're here to help. On this individual professional session, we will craft a step by step game plan for the role you want at the income you deserve and to attract employers to you to get hired. And the cost is free. All right, so you're probably asking yourself, why are we doing this? Well, we understand that it's a big challenge and we're committed to giving back. The fact is, employers need top talent. Really, we need to close this gap between those of you that are ready to take on an opportunity and the employers that need you on their team. Plus, we know that you might want some help with transforming your search. If so, we can discuss it and see if it's a good fit for both of us. If not, that's fine too. If you're already not part of our community, The Science of Getting Hired, I welcome you to join us on Facebook or on LinkedIn. Simply search for the group, The Science of Getting Hired. To schedule an appointment with us, you can reach us at notionpath.com www.untitled.com/get hired. You may also see another link on this page or just below it. We would be very excited to be able to get a chance to meet with you, learn about your opportunities, and together discuss ways we can help you get hired. This has been David McKnight with Notion Path, wishing you a great day.